everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to do another novel of Indian English literature, that is Kanthapura. Earlier we have done the novel Untouchables by Mulkraj Anand. Today we are doing the novel Kanthapura by Raja Rao. Raja Rao was the novelist of this novel Kanthapura. He was a very famous novelist of Indian English literature. This is the novel that includes in the curriculum of Masters in English in the University of IGNOU also, and so many other universities as well. So today we are doing this novel. We are going through with a short summary of the novel, so that will give you an idea what the novel is trying to say and what the novel is about. The novel Kanthapura. Kanthapura novel is written by the novelist Raja Rao. This is the novel of the time period 1919 to 1931. As we all know, at that time we was not independent. We were under the rule of British one, and we were facing a lot of problems, lot of dominance by the British rule. So this is a novel that depicts the condition of that time, that of 1919 to 1931. The various movements was going at that point of time. That was Satyagraha movement, civil disobedience movement, and so many other movement as well, Dandi March, etc. So this novel is portraying that period. That time period was a condition of that. What was the effect of the movements that was taken by Gandhiji, the steps taken by Gandhiji? What was the impact of that movements on the villagers also? So Kanthapura is basically a South Indian village, and we will see how the actions of Gandhiji makes an impact on them and how they contribute their role in the independence of us, in the independence movement. Kanthapura. Novel Kanthapura by Raja Rao is an Indian novel, deals with the influence of Gandhi's freedom movement. ये हमें बताता है कि गांधी जी की जो फ्रीडम मूवमेंट थी उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट था इन अ साउथ इंडियन विलेज नेम्ड कांतापुरा. तो जो हमारा नोवेल का नाम है, द नेम ऑफ द नोवेल कांतापुरा इज बेसिकली अ नेम ऑफ अ साउथ इंडियन विलेज कांतापुरा. तो इसमें बताया गया है कि साउथ इंडियन विलेज जो कांतापुरा है उसमें उसके लोगों पर, विलेजर्स पर क्या इफेक्ट पड़ता है गांधी जी के स्टेप्स जो उन्होंने गांधी जी ने लिए थे. दिस इज बेसिकली नोट्स, some brief summary, and you can take a screenshot of it, so that will help you out in your examination. Next point is, novel is a portrayal of situation of India during the thundering period of 1919 to 1931. ये जो हमारा नोवेल है, ये कौन से पीरियड की कहानी हमें बता रहा है, कौन से पीरियड को पोर्ट्रे कर रहा है? 1919 से 1931 का इंसिडेंस हमें बता रहा है ऑफ अ विलेज, साउथ इंडियन विलेज, दैट इज कांतापुरा. गांधी डज नॉट फिजिकली अपीयर इन द नोवेल. गांधी जी इस नोवेल में फिजिकली नहीं है. एज अ कैरेक्टर, एज अ प्ले, एज अ पर्सन इस नोवेल में वो नहीं है. बट हिज प्रेजेंस इज ऑलवेज फेल्ट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ वेरियस नेशनलिस्ट मूवमेंट एंड रेजिस्टेंस अगेंस्ट ब्रिटिश डोमिनेंस. बट उनके प्रेजेंस हमें हमेशा फील होती है, बिकॉज जो सारा इम्पैक्ट है वो उन्हीं के मूवमेंट्स का आता है कांतापुरा के विलेजर्स पर. The protagonist of the novel is young and educated man named Murthy. So हमारा जो नोवेल है कांतापुरा, इसका प्रोटैगनिस्ट है मूर्ति, who is a staunch followers of Gandhi. He is a very firm for Gandhi. गांधी जी के लिए बहुत पक्का है, अटूट विश्वास है उसे गांधी जी पर. He is a staunch follower of Gandhi. Civil disobedience movement. जब गांधी जी ने सिविल डिसओबीडियंस मूवमेंट किया था तो उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट कांतापुरा के विलेजर्स पर आता है? फाइंड इट्स वे इनटू रिमोट विलेज कांतापुरा. मूर्ति आफ्टर अराइविंग फ्रॉम द सिटी, मूर्ति जो था एक सिटी का एजुकेटेड मैन था. जब वो कांतापुरा आता है, मेक्स एन एंडिएवर टू गो एवरी हाउस ऑफ विलेज एंड ऑल्सो टू पेरिया क्वार्टर्स एंड एक्सप्लेन हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट दिस स्ट्रगल फॉर इंडिपेंडेंस वॉज. तो जो मूर्ति है वो एक सिटी एजुकेटेड मैन है. वो कांतापुरा आता है, सभी घरों में जाता है, जब वो लोअर कास्ट का है, अपर कास्ट का है, सभी के घरों में जाता है, पेरियार क्वार्टर्स में भी जाता है, और उन्हें समझाता है कि ये इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट उनके लिए किस तरह इम्पोर्टेंट है. ही अर्जेस the villagers to opt for चरखा स्पिनिंग, वो कहता है that you have to do, you should opt चरखा स्पिनिंग and make their own clothes, कि वो अपने खुद कपड़े खुद बनाए, क्लोथ्स खुद बनाए, and boycott foreign clothes, boycott foreign goods. So he want to say that if you need to boycott the foreign goods and you have to make your own using the charkha spinning, make your own clothes. So in this way here we see that the movement which was going all over the India was also going in the Kanthapura also. The villagers were opting for charkha spinning and were making their own clothes, so they were boycotting the foreign clothes. Murthy was supported by Ratna. Ratna is another character in the novel. Ratna is another character in the novel. Murthy was supported by Ratna, a progressive lady. She was a progressive lady of Kanthapura, and Patel Rang Koda. That is another character in the novel. This is another character in the novel who was a Patel in Kanthapura. Kanthapura में एक पटेल का जो पोस्ट होता है उस पर थे. The news of Mahatma Gandhi's Dandi March, as we all know, महात्मा गांधी जी ने डांडी मार्च की थी, ठीक है. सॉल्ट का पे जो टैक्सेस वगैरह थे उसको ब्रेक करने के लिए. So the news of Mahatma Gandhi's Dandi March and his breaking of salt law reached the village. तो जैसे ही विलेजर्स को पता चला कि गांधी जी ने डांडी मार्च किया है and he have break the salt law and boosted the enthusiasm of people of Kanthapura. So, with the success of Gandhiji in the Dandi March and breaking of the salt law, they were very enthusiastic. They become full of energy. They got motivated for the independence struggle. Then Satyagraha movement evolved throughout the country. Satyagraha movement was evoked all over the country and has a great impact upon the people of the village. Villagers भी बहुत ज़्यादा affected हुए. They also got inspired, motivated. Under Murthy leadership, village organized सत्याग्रह outside Todi plantation. तो विलेजर्स ने भी सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट्स में पार्ट लिया, उसे ऑर्गेनाइज किया अपने विलेज में, कांतापुरा में. कहाँ पर? टोडी प्लांटेशन के बाहर. सो दिस इज बेसिकली नाउ वी आर कमिंग टुवर्ड्स द सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट एंड वी विल मूव फर्दर विद द नेक्स्ट बोर्ड, विद द नेक्स्ट सम पॉइंट्स ऑफ समरी. As we know that the Satyagraha movement was going outside the Todi plantation, so that is very normal that British government was not going to tolerate all these kind of resistance, these kind of protests from the Indians. And what happened after that? What was the reaction? Let us see. As a reaction of Satyagraha movement of Kanthapura, police took to lathi charging. As a reaction, the British government asked the police to do the lathi charge. Some of them were sent to prison, but movement didn't stop. So some people of the Kanthapura who was doing protest was sent to the prison, but the movement didn't stop there. The villagers also adopted picketing outside the Skeffington Coffee Estate. This is the coffee estate, and the people adopted for picketing. उन्होंने धरना वगैरह दिया, protest किया. Okay, so they started picketing outside the Skeffington Coffee Estate. This is a very important name. Skeffington Coffee Estate के बाहर उन्होंने picketing की, and this time the opposition from the government was more severe from the earlier time when they were doing satyagraha, and at that point of time when they were doing picketing, this time the action taken by the British government was very severe, very harsh. Most of them got wounded, and the repression did not spare women and children also. So that at that point of time the action was very severe. The people got wounded, and that even the women and the children don't even left behind. Women's को और children's को भी नहीं छोड़ा गया. Who were hurt seriously. But slogans echoed in the place and people shouted Mahatma Gandhi ki jai. After that action of British rule also, British government also, at that point of time, even the villagers of Kanthapura, the people of Kanthapura were determined for their independence, and they were shouting the slogan for Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi ki Jai. They were shouting this. These slogans was echoing in the atmosphere. Many people along with Murthy sent for a long term imprisonment. बहुत लंबे टाइम के लिए they got to the prison, the Murthy and some other people of Kanthapura. During Murthy's absence, Ratna handled the working of Congress in the village. So Murthy was in prison. So he was not there. He was in the prison. So behind him, the lady who was Ratna, who was a progressive lady of Kanthapura, Ratna, who was a progressive lady of Kanthapura, handled the whole job, and she made the people unite. She inspired them to move forward, to keep focusing on the independence struggle. A large number of women were brought together. So Ratna, as she was a progressive lady, she combined more of the women together and trained them. She also trained them for upcoming struggle for independence. She gave them training as well. Remained non-violent even in the worst circumstances. So villagers were non-violent. They were adopting the strategy, the morals of the Gandhiji, that you should remain non-violent. So they adopted for the non-violence even in the worst circumstances. Villagers offer strong resistance against merciless oppression. Villagers ने बहुत कोशिश करी, बहुत strongly डटे रहे. They were determined very much against the actions of the British rule, but ultimately gave up and compelled to leave and find refuge in remote village. They tried a lot. They faced so many difficulties, but at the end they gave up, and they have to leave the Kanthapura, and they got miles away from Kanthapura and find refuge in the remote villages in miles away from Kanthapura. With the spirit they fought had an incredible impact upon the government. With the spirit, the people of Kanthapura was fighting against the fighting for the independence, and this was going in other parts of India as well. So this make a very incredible impact upon the British rule, British mindset, that they have to leave the India, they have to give us a freedom. So this was happening in other parts of India as well. The resistance of whole country, पूरी country में जो हमारा resistance चल रहा था against the British rule, whole culminated, and at the end उसका effect क्या रहा? Whole culminated in the British leaving India in 1947. As we all know, Britishers से हमें independence 1947 में मिली. तो कांतापुरा का और इसी तरह के इंडिया के अदर पार्ट्स में जितने भी मूवमेंट्स चल रहे थे, जितने भी इंडिपेंडेंस स्ट्रगल चल रहे थे, वो सब किस में एंड हुए, कहाँ जाके उनका हमें एक इफेक्ट मिला, एक रिजल्ट मिला. That was Britisher leave the India in 1947. So ये पॉइंट्स है हमारे कांतापुरा की, कैसे एक एक फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल हुआ और उसमें कांतापुरा के लोगों ने पार्ट लिया. Now we are summarizing all the points. This is the novel Kanthapura of a South Indian village where the effect of Gandhiji movements was very loud and clear. They were participating in the independence movement in their own way. So, as the Gandhiji was not physically appear in the novel, but his impact was there in each and every corner. Murthy was the protagonist of the novel. He was an educated man of the city. He came to the Kanthapura and tried to understand, tried to influence people that how important this independence struggle for them. The people of Kanthapura also supported him. They were with him, and he requested the people to opt for charkha spinning and boycott the foreign goods. Now, after that, Murthy, there was one more character, Ranga. She was a progressive lady, and a Patel Rengoda, that was a Patel in the Kanthapura. These were the supporters of Murthy. Then the news of Dandi March, that Gandhiji done the Dandi March and break the salt law, that make the people very enthusiastic, they become full of energy, and they also become very enthusiastic. After that, the Satyagraha movement take place. In the Satyagraha movement, this movement was going throughout the country and as well as in the Kanthapura village also, under the leadership of Murthy outside the Todi plantation. The Satyagraha movement was also going in the Kanthapura. So after that क्या हुआ, सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट हुआ था जो हो रहा था आउटसाइड द टोडी प्लांटेशन. सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट की वजह से ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, बहुत ज्यादा उसके अगेंस्ट एक्शन लिया एंड पुलिस टुक द लाठी चार्ज अगेंस्ट इट. बहुत सारे लोग घायल हुए, वाउंडेड हुए. फिर भी ये मूवमेंट वहां नहीं रुका. आफ्टर डेट क्या होता है, सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट के बाद उन्होंने क्या करा, कांतापुरा के लोगों ने पिकेटिंग करी. दे अडॉप्टेड पिकेटिंग आउटसाइड द स्कैपिंगटन कॉफी एस्टेट के बाहर उन्होंने पिकेटिंग करी. इस बार जो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट का जो एक्शन था बहुत ज्यादा सीवियर था. उस एक्शन में उन्होंने वीमेन्स को भी नहीं छोड़ा, बच्चों को भी एक्सक्यूज नहीं किया एंड बहुत सारे लोग घायल हुए, बहुत सारे लोग जेल गए. मैनी पीपल अलॉन्ग विद मूर्ति, बहुत सारे लोग मूर्ति के साथ और भी बहुत सारे लोग एक लंबे टाइम के लिए जेल गए, इम्प्रिजनमेंट उन्हें मिली. मूर्ति की एब्सेंस में जो एक रत्ना है, जो एक प्रोग्रेसिव लेडी है, वो इस काम को आगे फॉरवर्ड करती है एंड शी रीयूनाइटेड द पीपल. उसने बहुत सारी लेडीज को ऑल्सो कलेक्ट किया, उन्हें रीयूनाइट किया एंड उन्हें फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल के लिए रेडी किया. विलेजर्स जो थे दे वर अडॉप्टिंग द नॉन वायलेंस, वायलेंस नहीं कर रहे थे, नॉन वायलेंस गांधी जी के मॉरल्स पर ही चल रहे थे. दे वर अडॉप्टिंग द नॉन वायलेंस. पर ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट का जो ऑपरेशन था वो बहुत ज्यादा एक्सेसिव, intolerable होता जा रहा था. They were not excusing anyone. That was very very harsh. So at the end क्या होता है कि जो कांतापुरा के विलेजर्स हैं जो इंडियन स्ट्रगल कर रहे थे इंडिपेंडेंस के लिए, they gave up and they went miles away from Kantapura and find refuge in the remote village. लेकिन in the way the movement was going in the Kantapura, in the same way it was going in whole over the India as well. So that all ends with the British leaving in 1947. With all these struggles, when these all struggles combined up, that led to the Britishers to leave the India in 1947. So this was my novel, that is Kanthapura, written by Raja Rao. This is the novel that is depicting the condition of India in 1919 to 1931, and this is a very important novel for the masters in English. You can take a screenshot of the board so that you can have the notes of it as well. And this is the summary. If you think that topic is clear to you, please like my video, subscribe my channel and keep watching it. Thank you.